Now at 10, the Joplin City Council will consider a potential ordinance to prohibit shooter bottles. Plus, a tornado damaged a Wallace County, Kansas school last night. How the school recovers ahead of its graduation. And Wildcat Glades gets down and dirty with a crawdad. Boyle will tell you why.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Some strong storms could still be in the mix tonight in the 4 states. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, well, we've been watching showers and thunderstorms mainly in our western counties throughout the evening hours. Several severe thunderstorm warnings. They really just haven't pushed east as of yet, but you can still see a severe thunderstorm watch parts of Kansas down through Oklahoma. And we've been kind of watching this cluster just really sitting over the same area, just slowly pushing off toward the east. Another cluster down through northeastern parts of Oklahoma. So that's all that we're going to keep our eyes on as we go through the next couple hours. This will most likely lift northeast and start to diminish. We may still get a severe thunderstorm out of that one in Wilson County. This complex is going to continue to build a little bit and then push off toward the east, but I think severe potential over the next few hours will start to drop with that complex of storms. So we're going to break it all down for you here in just a bit.
All right, see you soon. A tornado ripped through a K-12 school in Wallace County, Kansas yesterday. School was badly damaged, but fortunately no one was hurt. Haley Tucker has that story.
Weskin School Principal Jeff Montero was watching the sky when the alarms went off.
We tried to figure out exactly where it was, if we needed to go down to the basement. And as some of my staff were doing that, I went outside and I saw the clouds starting to spiral.
That's when Montero got everyone to the basement.
I was really worried about the kids when I was down there, trying to keep them safe, keep them calm, and make sure they weren't freaking out.
And after the storm passed,
well, the first thing that came when I saw is when we left the shelter, it was in the big gym, and it was a waterfall. The roof had gotten damaged pretty good, and the water was coming in from the rain. And then as we walked through the building, there was some broken glass, and then upstairs in like my office and some of the other offices and classrooms and stuff, you can look up and see sky.
One loss that will hit the community hard, the bleachers on the football field.
We just fundraised like over $75,000 to put them in. Community members spent weeks putting them up. We got a chance to take a picture with them as a staff and as a school. And we had them up for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and now I don't think we're going to use them again.
Even then, Montero says it's important to keep one thing in perspective.
I was just happy no one got hurt. Things like this happen, bad things happen. No one got hurt, so it's a good day for me.
Plans for graduation are now uncertain. On Monday, the Joplin City Council will consider a potential ordinance that aims to prohibit the sale of alcohol in so-called shooter bottles. These bottles are commonly used for selling alcohol in quantities of 100 milliliters or less. According to the council bill, shooters are easier to conceal and disproportionately contribute to violations of city code. A representative from Higher Society, a local nonprofit that helps clean up the community, says in 4 months they've picked up more than 50,000 shooter bottles. But Jeanette Lewis, a manager at Jugg's Liquor Store, says the ban would affect city revenue.
Outside city limits is going to pick up huge in the sales of the 50 ml bottles because people that want those bottles are still going to go get them. They're just going to drive 5 minutes farther to pick it up at another liquor store.
Or whatever decision they make, that's going to help solve the issue of not just the trash these bottles create, but the overall communal impact of what it does for our mental health in our region.
Monday's council meeting will have the first reading of the ordinance. Since it is not an emergency ordinance, 3 votes at 3 council meetings are required to pass it. A Northeast Oklahoma woman injured in a car crash nearly a week ago died of her injuries just today. The single vehicle crash occurred on a rural road northeast of Quapaw, Oklahoma, back on May 6th. Investigators say the driver was 81-year-old Amanda Johnson of Commerce, Oklahoma. Her SUV left the road and rolled. Johnson died this morning. Freeman Health System in Joplin partners with the Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks to provide free mammograms. It's part of the healthcare provider's Project Pink. The The partnership makes it possible for uninsured or underinsured people in the Joplin area to receive a breast health evaluation.
We have a lot of generous donors that have given to BCFO for many years. We also do a lot of grant work in various arenas that helps pay for these tests, and we're very grateful for everyone who's ever provided to a fund that helps with this.
This Project Pink event was at the Wes and Jan Hauser Women's Pavilion. Mother's Day is Sunday, and even if you still haven't figured out what to get the most important woman in your life, chances are pretty good that you're going to be spending some money, and you are not alone. Americans are spending big for Mother's Day. The most popular gifts, flowers and cards. Local nurseries like Pittsburgh's In the Garden have been gearing up for the big weekend. They started growing their massive hanging bouquets in January specifically for Mother's Day. With so many flowers in bloom, nursery owners hope finding the perfect gift for mom or grandma or your wife can be a one-stop shop. A popular gift at the shop, flower baskets.
Hanging baskets traditionally are what they buy on Mother's Day. They may buy smaller flowers, but usually they buy those before Mother's Day, and then they kind of get the great big stuff for Mother's Day.
Harrison says they're going to have the flower baskets even after Mother's Day weekend. They'll also stay open normal hours on Mother's Day for those last-minute shoppers. Good old crawfish boil is good for the soul, they say. That's why Wildcat Glades hosted their second annual Crawdads at the Creek fundraiser. It featured a crawdad boil with, of course, crawdads, also shrimp, sausage, potatoes, and corn on the cob. Tickets were $35 per person, $60 per couple. A new feature offered childcare in the education cottage for $30 more.
It's pretty fun. It's actually, we knew we needed to do a fundraiser because we are not-for-profit, but this fundraiser seemed to just fit right into what we do. So Crawdads by the Creek, it couldn't get any more on point.
We actually use a company out of Springfield called Express Foods, and they came last year and cooked for us, and they were so much fun, and they did such a great job for us. So this is, they came back again this year, and we're hoping we're just gonna have them every year.
All the proceeds benefit Wildcat Glades education and preservation initiatives. Coming up, how Kansas City, Missouri is becoming a sanctuary for transgender people. Plus, an Idaho jury gives its verdict in the case of Valo Daybell, accused of murdering her 2 children. Kansas City, Missouri is now a sanctuary city for the transgender community. The city's mayor, Quentin Lucas, signed a resolution that pushes back against some bills at the state level. Mark Palouse has more.
This is just about right and wrong, and it's right to support your fellow people.
By an 11-1 vote, the City Council approved a resolution to make KC a sanctuary city for the trans community.
We're not giving up a fight for people. We're not going to be scared to stand up for people because it's never wrong to stand up for people.
The resolution comes at a time when some trans rights are in the crosshairs of the state government. Governor Mike Parson is expected to sign bills into law that would restrict minors' access to gender-affirming care, as well as a ban on transgender women competing in female sports.
To be in Kansas City, Missouri is to mean that you are in a city that accepts, promotes, and supports the rights of trans people. And I think that's something that's powerful.
Heather Hall, who represents the 1st District, was the lone council member to vote against the resolution.
People pay their tax dollars for us to do a very few things. Trash, snow removal, potholes, sidewalks. They do not tell us to do social issues at the municipal level.
Members of the trans community were at City Hall to see the resolution get signed. We talked to the head of the LGBTQ Housing Commission, who told us the city made the right decision.
If the city chooses to say that we're not going to discriminate, that's the right thing to do. We're just like everybody else. I mow my lawn, I garden, I grow tomatoes. We're just normal folks like everyone else.
Critics of the resolution doubt its enforceability. Mayor Lucas says he's going to forward a letter to the Police Board of Commissioners, asking them to follow the policy adopted by the City Council.
There are a lot of priorities for the Kansas City Police Department. A priority for the Kansas City Police Department is not standing between patients and their physician, is not standing between decisions that are made by families.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson plans to sign the 2 bills restricting the rights of transgender people. If signed, the laws will be on the books until 2027. A bill that would ban texting while driving in Missouri heads to the governor's desk after clearing the Senate yesterday. Missouri is one of only 2 U.S. states without a law that prohibits people over 21 from texting while driving. The bill would require hands-free cell phone use only for drivers of all ages. According to the bill, there would be enhanced penalties for repeat offenders, violations occurring in a work zone when workers are present, violations occurring in a school zone, and violations that result in personal property damage, personal injury, or death. An Idaho jury finds Lori Vallow-Dable guilty on all counts, killing two of her children and conspiring in the murder of her husband's ex-wife. The jury reached its verdict after less than 7 hours of deliberation. Vallow-Dable was accused in the 2019 deaths of two of her kids from previous marriages who were 17 and 7 years old, as well as the former wife of Chad Dable. Lori Vallow-Dable now faces life in prison. Her sentencing is expected to take place in 3 months. The man who is seen in a now viral video putting a fellow New York subway rider in a lethal chokehold has turned himself in. Prosecutors are charging 24-year-old Daniel Penny with manslaughter for the death of Jordan Neely. The video of that fatal confrontation has created an uproar. Penny is a Marine veteran, and his lawyer says he acted in self-defense. A little later, a local youth soccer team hits the field for a preemptive Mother's Day matchup against their mothers. We're going to have the highlights, sort of.
Plus, we're tracking some thunderstorms continuing to increase and work into the area. Details coming up next. We have been tracking thunderstorms all evening long, especially in our western counties, but these are going to start to work through the region as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Severe thunderstorm watch still in effect. Parts of southeast Kansas and also down through northeastern parts of Oklahoma. These are about to expire, but I bet something new comes up as we progress a little bit deeper into the overnight. Most of these storms, they've been running parallel to the front, so nothing really to push it off toward the east. Very heavy amounts of rain, but look how they've flared up over the past hour or so, and I really think this is going to come together as a pretty big complex and then kind of drive east or southeast as we go through the overnight hours. But storms from Iola all the way back to Fredonia, Neodesha, just to the west of Bartlesville. This guy east of Iola is starting to weaken just a little bit, but this guy has been intensifying right through Wilson County, so a new severe thunderstorm warning. So this is Fredonia, Neodesha until 11:15. Main threats here are quarter to $half size hail and winds clocking in at about 60 to 70. And then we have all this mess, which is really just flared up. So I think these two batches are going to come together and then drive east, drive southeast as we go through the next several hours. So it could be a loud night, could get some strong, some low-grade severe storms in here. Also heavy amounts of rain. Look at Greenwood, Woodson, and Wilson counties. A lot of areas have picked up 1, 2, upwards of 5 inches of rain, which that's where the heaviest of the drought is, so we need it. This is all due to our upper level low up across parts of Nebraska, so severe weather extends all the way down into the southern plains, winding down to our north, but again flaring up right in our general area. So we're going to watch that as we go through the rest of the night for us tonight. Let's go through time. Here shortly, 11 p.m., storms coming together, southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma, becoming a complex, driving east. So we could get some severe weather in here 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning once they get into the metro. Very similar to what we had last night. Very loud night with those showers and thunderstorms pushing through. And then we'll start the day with showers and then we'll start to dry out. Temperatures are still sitting into the mid-70s right now. We can look at 7th and Range Line. Currently sitting at 75 degrees. Southerly winds at about 10 miles per hour. Once we get these thunderstorms out of here by morning, you can still see some leftover showers and then just a lot of clouds. We warm into the upper 70s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, mid-80s. So most of the day is going to be dry, and then scattered thunderstorms again get in here tomorrow night. By Mother's Day, we're going to have hit and miss storms throughout the day, just kind of scattered about. So we are going to have those rain chances sticking around as we go into the weekend. Let's go 84 tomorrow, 83 Sunday. Scattered thunderstorms, pop-up storms on Monday. A few random showers Tuesday and Wednesday still. Thunderstorm chances next Thursday and Friday of next week. We need the rain. Don't really want it on the weekend, but we need the rain, so we'll take it.
Yeah, people would like to have clear weather, at least for maybe some Mother's Day
Yeah.
outdoor activities, picnics, and then bring on the rain.
There you go.
Thanks, Doc. Neosho High School seniors today took part in a tradition that dates back to the late 1970s. Every year, right before graduation, the graduating class comes together to paint Hill Street next to the high school. Their artwork stays there for the whole year until the next class gets to paint over it for their graduation. Officials say it's a great way to let students express their creativity and leave their mark on the school while spending some time with their peers.
Hanging out with friends, being able to do something all together and enjoying it.
Students have to submit their designs in advance so school officials can approve them. Still ahead, Missouri Southern softball aims to stay alive in the regional tournament, and the Fort Scott Tigers try to clinch the outright SEK championship against Chanute. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more up next.
The Missouri Southern softball team won their regional opener last night, beating Minnesota Duluth 3-2 in walk-off fashion. And this afternoon, the Lions are right back on the field in round 2, facing Southern Arkansas. And the winner of this one advances to play in the regional championship round tomorrow morning. We'll pick it up top of the first. Kara Amos gets Moso started with a big swing to left, clears the fence for the 2-run jack. Lions on top early. Bottom half, Southern Arkansas responds. Jackson Dyson, opposite field power here. That gets over the fence for the solo homer and cuts the Lions lead to 2-1. To the 5th, same score, more long ball action from the Mule Riders. Reagan Dillon high and deep to left. Another solo shot ties the game up at 2. And it stayed that way until the 7th. Southern Arkansas 2 on, 1 out. All they need is a base hit here to win it. Gracie King did that and a little bit more. She hammers this one up and out. 3-run walk-off homer for King. Lions failed to score a run after the first inning and fall in this one 5-2. So the Lions have to turn around and play again in an elimination game against Rogers State tonight. That one actually still going. Missouri Southern trails right now 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas and Missouri Southern Lions are both still alive in the MIAA Baseball Conference Tournament coming into the day. Pitt State lost last night to Central Missouri. Missouri Southern fell to Northeastern State earlier today, so the two rivals face each other this afternoon in an elimination game in Warrensburg. In that one, Southern gets 4 in the top of the 9th, going on to win 6-2. Tregan Parker goes 3 for 5 with a triple and a pair of RBIs. Drew Davis 2 for 3 with a homer. Missouri Southern plays in the morning at 11 a.m. for a spot in the championship game. Well, tonight is the final night of the SEK baseball regular season, and we finish with a big one. The Fort Scott Tigers host the Chanute Blue Comets tonight, and this game decides the league champion. If Fort Scott wins, they claim the outright SEK Conference Championship. If Chanute wins, they share the title with Fort Scott and Pittsburgh. As Chanute gets things started early, top of the first, Lars Custer to right. Goes off the wall. Rhett Smith scores. RBI double gives the Blue Comets a 1-0 lead. To the 5th, tied up at 1. Big play here. Chaden Clayton pops the bunt up. Look at Brian Jacket, the catcher. Nice awareness, makes the grab. Throw to third. Double play. Chanute out of the inning. To the bottom of the 6th, we're still tied. Lennox Van comes through clutch for Fort Scott. RBI single out to left. With the bases loaded, gives the Tigers a 2-1 lead. So now, top of the 7th, last chance for Chanute. Fort Scott gets the force out at second, and that is the ball game. Fort Scott wins a tight battle over Chanute 2-1. The Tigers are outright SEK Conference champions. Missouri Southern softball trying to stay alive in the regional tournament. They had that 2-run homer in their first game of the day. Didn't score over the final 6 frames. They're 5 innings into this game. They haven't scored. They got one more chance to get the bats going to live to play another day.
Time is running out. They need to act now. Southwest Missouri Prospectors Club soccer team hit the field against their moms. That's next.
Well, ahead of Mother's Day, some local soccer players hit the field today against their own mothers. The 10 and under Southwest Missouri Prospectors Club soccer team in Webb City hosted a Mother's Day game that pitted the players against their moms in an exhibition game, and the kids Prospectors score early against the moms, then a little later out of the reach there of goalie mom, not able to get the stop. Score 1 for the kids. Officials say It's a great way to get the parents involved in the fun, and apparently also a great way for the kids to talk a little friendly trash.
So he asked me on the way here if he could run faster than me, and I had to admit to that. And then I asked him if he wanted to win. He goes, yeah. And I said, do you want to win just to win? He goes, no, I want to win to beat you.
Nervous. I'm old. I've got injuries. I play softball. I was a cheerleader. I played volleyball. This is not my sport. My daughter seems to be really good at it, so here we are.
Now, the kids won the game 3-2, and the team says they plan to make this a yearly tradition going forward. So normally, you know, as a parent, you let your kids win most of the time in those situations. That's a good lesson right there. You know, it's Mother's Day. You gotta let the moms take that one ahead of Mother's Day weekend.
I'm going to see my mom this weekend. I think I could take her in soccer.
Well, get out there. And
I don't know. Yeah, I know. We might not do that this year. The weather, you know what? It's going to be raining for some of us tonight.
Yeah, we got scattered thunderstorms really increasing northeastern parts of Oklahoma. This is going to become a complex and start to drive in over the next several hours. So a loud, stormy night for a good chunk of us. Most of tomorrow's dry, 84. Hit and miss storms on Mother's Day, 83.
Final sports notes.
Missouri Southern baseball, 11 a.m. tomorrow. They're going to face Northeastern State for a spot in the MIAA Tournament Championship.
Very good. Whatever you do, don't forget Mom on Sunday, and let's make it a great weekend.